on the human level, there's um, so many wounds that have come from, especially from our childhood, from the fear of being too much. So being too bright, being too loud, which we covered last month in the Reclaim Your Voice. That was really working with the fear of speaking up and speaking your truth. Whereas this time it's being seen. So sometimes we go quiet because we don't want to be seen. We don't want to draw attention to ourselves, but sometimes it's not just about what we say, it's also about how we act. So the things that we do, the way that we carry ourselves, we can dim our own light. We all have this beautiful auric field around us that some people can see and some people can feel without even realizing it. And sometimes that can be too much for other people to be around. And it's really it can be this, yeah, magnetic pull or this magnetic push, and that can cause this resistance. And it can have nothing to do with you, just that you're reflecting back or mirroring back something that the person isn't ready to see. And so they find it too confronting and they only see your human form, so they just think it's to do with you. So there's there's that, as well as not wanting to see ourselves. There may be all sorts of issues there where it can be just a like a self-confidence or a self-worth thing. You may not be happy with the color of your skin, the color of your hair, the color of your eyes. You may have freckles and you may not like them. Like there may be any sort of something within your physical appearance that you're not happy with. And that could be from childhood, from teenage years, early adulthood. Now it can be something, it could have been the same thing the whole way through, or it can change along the way. And again, with that, we don't want like looking at it. So then we don't want other people to look at it, other people to notice it. So the more we kind of stay back in the shadows, dim our light, then we're going to be less noticeable. Then there is also the masks that we put on. So we may be this person for that person, like very much so with our family. Very often there's the people pleaser, the good girl or the good boy, and yeah, just putting that mask on and just giving the people what you think they want from you and not actually giving them who you really are. And that may have come from because it wasn't safe to, like maybe you did show them who you were and you may have felt them pull back, or there may have been a reaction and you're wanting to avoid that happening again. There can also be the safety measures, like maybe there was abuse, whether it was physical, mental, or emotional, and so it's not safe to be seen. So really trying to hide, whether you're trying to hide in your room or escape into being very active, doing all sorts of things. And again, also escape, especially in those teenage years, you may escape into drugs and alcohol and other behaviors that I guess a bit more risk taking, a bit more just getting you out of this world that you're in, because then you don't have to be dealing with not feeling safe to be seen, and you're with these other people that they don't know the real you. So you've got that mask on. In the workplace, we can have very many different masks, especially if you're in a role that you don't like. So you are just putting on, like you put on your uniform and you go to work, you be that person, and then you come home and then you can feel like you're yourself. So there's that. Also, if you have your own business, then there's a lot more visibility blocks to work through, especially if you're in this day and age trying to get out on social media, trying to have more of an online digital presence. So you need to get comfortable with being on the camera, to where you're not only being seen by others, but you also got to get comfortable with seeing yourself through the lens. So that can be quite confronting for a lot of people. And that in itself can really keep a lot of people um, keep them playing small, because it's such a stretch to put themselves out there. And it doesn't even have to be in the online space. It can be like going to networking events, or just even creating small conversations or relationships where you're maybe collaborating with other people or even just putting a flyer up in a cafe or trying to book a place that you can have a talk maybe or yeah talking to your friends and family about your business can be a bit confronting. You may not, and there can be many reasons there. It can simply be not wanting them to tell you that you're doing the wrong thing, or it can be because you may have this big vision and you know they can't see it, and so you know it's not safe to entrust them with that. So that's just a few of the ways the visibility blocks can play out in this human life. And then there's also all the societal conditioning, which really impacts I guess, the ways we view ourselves. So, so many of us, I'm sure, remember flicking through the magazines and seeing all these beautiful, perfect women, not knowing that they were airbrushed, and now there's all these AI created faces, so they're really not real. So there's this illusion of what is real, and that just makes it so much harder for us to be seen when there's this idealized image of perfection that is really unattainable. Um, and then if we're going back through our ancestry, there can be a number of reasons why it hasn't been safe to be seen. Again, there's a lot of history of abuse and a lot of trauma there. There could also be history of war times, of real needing to flee, needing to hide, those sorts of things that, yeah, you really needed to stay undercover, or even like, yeah, if there's like bombing going on, needing to be undercover, be in a safe spot, before it's safe to come back out again. So sometimes that needing to hide kind of gets imprinted in the bloodline. So then it doesn't get turned off at some point. So there can also be that. Um, there can also be um, this can be in your bloodline or it can be in your own soul's history. And this could be where lifetimes where maybe you or your ancestor was like a priestess, an oracle, doing some sort of magical thing where they dealt with the unseen. And especially in the time of the witch hunts, there was that time where you had to hide. It wasn't safe to be doing what you were doing. So many fled or many had to keep what they were doing on the down low. And so yeah, so that can very much be imprinted in this lifetime, especially if you do feel that intuitive connection to the land, to nature, to spirit. And if you haven't had the guidance to help you develop that, then you're trying to figure it out on your own, and you may still have that imprint that it wasn't safe last time, so it's not safe this time. I can't let others see what I'm doing. So there's that. Um, and then there's, I guess, more going even more mystical, and this can be in different realms where you may have had a higher position, where you may have been like a leader or a way shower or a light bearer, and again, just things not going right, and it's again, yeah, it just keeps coming back to something happening that's created this trauma that has made it not being safe to be seen, but also it makes it not safe for you to remember what you have done before, to see yourself, who you have been, because then that brings back that trauma, or yeah, you just don't want to go there. You've got these walls up. Um, so it's not even just about how the outside world perceives us, it's how we perceive ourselves and what we're ready to see again. And that shows up even more so when we are going into the galactic, where some people may be very comfortable with the idea of aliens and other people may not be. And while for myself, I know I have connected with them before, I've worked with their energies before, but actually seeing them hasn't quite happened. So I know I'm still working through that for myself. And then just adding in on another level there, it's the other things we've seen. From that space because there'll be so many different types of beings and there's been so many different galactic wars again. So again, it's the same, it's like the same but different, and it just plays out in different ways. And it's on just this huge multidimensional level. So I'm really trying to figure out how we're going to encompass all of that to really help what it is that we are struggling with in this moment in time, and to help us with not only just wanting to live a more happier, fulfilling life, but also reconnecting more with our own soul remembrance and also our own soul mission